World Championship Wreckage, presenting wrestling the way you remember it.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of World Championship Wreckage here on World Championship Wreckage's YouTube channel. It's been a minute. It's been a while, but, you know, when somebody, my fault, all my fault, gets a new job and works crazy-ass hours, it's hard to get everybody in the same room. And even, as you see now, we're not all here in the same room because life happens. But join with me. You know him from Queen's Court. You know him from over on Cold TV with Learning the Ropes. He is the Wrestling Encyclopedia, MJ Duplessis. What up, Mike?
What up, DadHat? How y'all doing?
I'm awake for now. So
Just don't fall asleep during the show, please.
I'll try not to. I mean, it depends on how XLJ does, I guess.
Dang.
No, I'm just picking. But as always, from Cole TV, he is Mr. White Chocolate. He is the lovable teddy bear. He is XLJ, the OG. What up, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing great.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, man. It's been forever, dude.
I know.
You've been crazy busy with work. I'm out in Michael's neck of the woods taking over on the West Coast. So, yeah, it's been some good times.
You've been traveling.
Oh, yeah, you were with Gout. I was so confused.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck
in
were
Vegas
you
and
LA,
LA, baby.
I was
Cole
so confused.
TV going national.
That's right.
So it's been a minute. It's not like we haven't been trying to get this show recorded. I think
we've tried.
We've set up like, I don't know, at least half a dozen, if not more.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's do it this night. And then either my kid wouldn't fall asleep, or I was so tired that I was just need to pass out, or life happened.
Illness. People have
sick
stuff going on.
Yeah, like it's been a minute, but we're here now. We're recording. And it's XLJ's topic, so he's going to be leading this. And today we're going to be talking about some of pro wrestling's conspiracy theories. We talked the last episode. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be on. Kind of touched on the Benoit conspiracy theories, and XLJ said, "You know what? Let's expand upon that. Let's touch on some more conspiracy theories in wrestling history." So, XLJ, the floor is yours, man.
Well, thank you, good sir. And as we all know, throughout the history of professional wrestling, just like in anything, there's always been a wide array of unique conspiracy theories. And that's what we're going to talk about on this episode of Wreckage. But to start it off first with you gentlemen, I know, I said fart, you child, you. No, to start it off, though, we want to talk about probably one of the more recent conspiracy theories that's going on out there. And that is, in fact, the conspiracy theory to remove one Vincent Kennedy McMahon out of the WWE. Now, as the rumor goes, a lot of this has to do supposedly with Nick Khan and The Rock, as they were childhood friends growing up. So I want to start first with asking you gentlemen first, like, do you in fact think that there was a conspiracy theory to remove Vince McMahon from his baby, from the WWE? I see you shaking your head yes over there, DadHat.
Oh, yeah.
If you could explain.
So to me, if anybody's ever watched the show Young Rock, you get the backstory of how Rocky Johnson, you know, was kind of blacklisted from the WWE for, you know, taking a side booking.
In Saudi.
In Saudi. At the time, he was trying to make some more money for his family.
Which is with the W. Sorry, but that's funny. now
Yeah.
with him doing shows there.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, the
So-
irony.
yeah. And you know how big of a family man The Rock is. So I mean, I'm not thinking it's a deliberate, like, you know, from the get go, he's like, I will overthrow this company. I will overthrow the Dark Lord, like that type of thing. But I mean, you got to think there's got to be some sweet revenge there, you know, on that side.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Mike?
I agree with it. I didn't know about the old childhood friend thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, legit,
Oh.
they were childhood friends, believe it or not. So, how makes you wonder.
Yeah, that makes a lot of things a lot of sense with how powerful The Rock has become over the last year.
Yeah, I'm just saying. No, I think here's the thing. I'm like you, DadHat. I don't think this necessarily was like intentionally planned from years ago, but I think it had been in the works for a couple of years because the old man just practically losing his shit and like not knowing how to fuck the book and just like crushing people for no fucking reason whatsoever because he's an old senile fuck that needed to go into the nursing home long ago. Fuck Vince McMahon. There, I said what I said. But I feel like when that stuff started happening, where you started seeing these roster cuts, when you started seeing like, I think of some of these just god awful gimmicks, like putting Karrion Kross as like Spartacus, and then like we had Big Cat Keith Lee and all this other just shit that made no fucking sense whatsoever. I think there was people in place, and obviously there's a history with Vince. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, but I think it was just like, okay, the pieces are here.
Neither
It's
did the
time.
ladies. Sorry, it was too easy.
Oh, snap. But the pieces are in place here. It's like, okay, we can get this old fucker out of here.
This
Which
is
was
the
once
time
thought.
we can make
This
some
is the
moves.
time. So I think I think Triple H was a big part of it, honestly, and I think Stephanie too.
I do think his kids had something to do with it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Obviously,
I
in a
don't know about
strange
Shane, but I
relationship.
definitely do think Stephanie is like, you know what? You made my life hell as a kid.
Well,
We're
look, Mike, look what happened. Like Stephanie came back, was working under the WWE umbrella, and then like we thought Vince was kind of gone, and then he somehow gets back in power, and then it's just like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, we got to do something to get this motherfucker out of power. Let me counteract this with you. If Vince was still in power in the WWE, two things here. One, would the WWE be on fire as they are right now? And two, would Triple H be there? Because I don't think either of those would be the case.
I think Triple H and Stephanie would pull a Shane and leave.
I think they would have too.
I think that's one of the main reasons Shane wants nothing to do with his family or that company.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I think they would have tried to. I don't. People would be like, "Oh, they jumped to AEW." No, I think that they either would have jumped, like, gotten in bed with TNA, or I think that they would have tried to start their own.
Yeah. Do you think ever there would have been a chance with AEW?
No.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
No, I think that ship sailed because AEW did too much shit talking from the straight beginning. So I think, I mean, when you're strictly like, I think that ship sailed once Cody hit the hammer with that fake
Throne.
Yeah, the throne.
See, now I don't know about that because I mean, let's face facts here. Who is on top in the WWE right now?
Cody.
It's Cody.
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily. I think Triple H would have had enough mindset to eat humble pie, but I think the fact of the matter is the proof is in the pudding.
I think he would have taken it.
If he's not in charge, yeah, I think that. But I think really the proof is the fact that let's call whether you love AEW, hate AEW, and I'll be the first man. I love AEW, I really do. But you can't deny the fact that like the owner of that company is very fucking sporadic. I mean, it's just like I don't think he would have the tolerance to put up with the bullshit.
He's a nutcase, and he's got two boys who think they're harder than shit that are a little cuckoo in the head. And I'm pretty sure they're the reason that Cody left in the first place.
Fair enough. So, Well, interesting nonetheless. And of course, leave us a comment and let us know what you think about some of these conspiracy theories we're talking about here tonight on this Wreckage episode. But speaking of companies and potentially leading to someone's exit or / downfall, this next one I want to talk about, it's going to hit really close to home for you, DadHat, because I want to talk about what exactly killed WCW. And a lot of people saying the big conspiracy theory years ago, I think you know where I'm going with this, is that when Vince Russo was sent to WCW to kill it by the WWE. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's true? You think there's some truth to it? No truth to it at all?
No, I don't think there's truth to it. I mean, I'm a firm believer that like people give Russo shit all the time. Like he was doing his job. Like he inherited the book. And even when he inherited the book and everything, they were past their prime.
Yeah.
Like the best thing that WCW ever could have done was you had the wave of momentum and the hot streak with the NWO and the Sting storyline in 97, and you go into 98 and you're building your homegrown stars, Goldberg and DDP and things, and use Raven as an example. And it should have been a thing of cool. What got the viewers were that Hogan NWO Sting, and then those needed to fade out, and these new stars you're building then take over. They didn't act on that soon enough, so he inherited a sinking ship, and he was just trying to do his best to keep it afloat. But
what doesn't help is when you give one of your biggest stars in the company the book.
See, this is why Will should have been here for just this one segment, because we would have just been like, and let me give the big screen to Will.
Touche. He says hi, by the way.
Yeah. Are y'all like talking on the other side of the screen or something?
No, we have a group that hangs and watches wrestling, so we were watching Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. And hey, huge shout out to Will too, with him getting his barbecue business going, man. Oh my God, those videos, they look delightful. I
can
need
vouch.
it in my life. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can.
I've had his meat in my mouth. Yep, I can vouch for his barbecue.
I'm so jealous. Will, buddy, I want your meat in my mouth. I'm just saying, I want it in my mouth right now. I'll swallow it whole. I'm just saying.
So side story, when I visited him in Nashville, I didn't know what we were doing, and I didn't eat lunch, and I was so starving by the time I got there, and I didn't know if we were just going to go grab dinner. I didn't know if he was going to cook. I didn't expect him to cook. But I get there, and he's like, "Oh, I'm doing like pulled pork," and I'm like, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I don't eat pulled pork. I like pulled pork. It's not my favorite thing in the world. So like I told him, he was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't even ask anything," but I tried. I was like, "Okay, I like pulled pork now. I like your pulled pork."
You hear that, Will? DadHat likes your pork. I want to know what your pork is like too. I would like to feel your pork inside me. I'm just saying. Clip that. Love you, Will. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Vince Russo killing WCW.
God, what a segue.
So Mike, what were your thoughts on this conspiracy theory? You think there's any levity to it?
No, like he said, the like DadHat said, the ship was already sinking. It was already the Titanic, and it had already hit the iceberg. And what also like kind of ruins this is like if Vince Russo was sent to WCW to kill the company, he would have gotten a job once the company was dead.
Right. We never.
See him
never saw Vince in WWE ever again. No, right.
He went to TNA.
Yeah.
With Jeff Jarrett, so why would he help a company that he wasn't gonna go to?
100%. Like you just nailed it. Hit the nail right on the head. I think Vince Russo would love you to believe that he worked for the WWE and was sent there to kill him, but
bro.
But I don't think there's any stock in this whatsoever. You guys said, the sink was already shipping, or the sink.
I mean,
the ship was already sinking. There we go.
It's rinse and repeat. Everybody was like, everybody thought that Hall and Nash going over was the same thing. Like it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. 1000% agree with you. Well, this next conspiracy theory I want to talk about, since we're talking about companies, now I want to go back to the land of extreme. I want to talk ECW. Now, for years, it was believed that ECW was actually under the umbrella of the WWF. Like, Paul Heyman was on the payroll, so to speak. So that being said, gentlemen, do you think there's any levity in that? Do you think, in fact, that ECW was working with the WWF all along? Or do you think it was just Paul Heyman getting a payday here and there? Or none of the above?
I definitely do.
Okay.
There's very much, as we watch Queen's Court, you see a lot of jobbers getting their ass beat on early Monday Night Raws. And then a year or two later, you see them in ECW.
Oh, that's interesting.
The Just Incredibles, the Pitbulls.
Really? I didn't know the Pitbulls were on Raw. Really?
Yeah. The few in 94 and 95.
Okay.
There's a bunch of guys. And there's also a great story told by Danny Doring and Roadkill, where they were driving the truck as they were part of Team Taz, and they stopped at the headquarters in Connecticut to take pictures and just be assholes. And they saw Paul Heyman drive out the parking lot. And he saw them, and he was like, okay, I'm going to go feed y'all some Korean barbecue to shut y'all up.
Because I'll do it every time.
Yeah. That was like in 97, 98.
That's interesting. DadHat, what about you?
I have a conspiracy theory of my own on top of this. So yes, okay. I believe that they were under the WWE umbrella. Like that's well documented. Paul has even admitted that at this point. I think he was in bed with both WCW and WWE.
Yeah.
Like he might have talked a lot of crap about Bischoff and a lot of he'd doing interviews and even talent talking about how like Paul would be like, just don't go to WCW. They're the enemy and everything. But there's too many like
guys hopping the ship, the WCW out of nowhere, like the Mikey Whipwrecks and the Hacks.
Yeah.
And like Sabu in 95.
Like the ones that were severely drinking the Heyman Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah. Raven, back and forth, Stevie Richards. There's so many of them. Yeah. It's just like, and then they're allowed back in the company. If you hate WCW so much, you wouldn't allow guys back in the company after they stabbed you in the back.
Unless they're making you a lot of money.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they're drawn. I mean, Sandman's one of the most iconic characters in ECW history. So, I mean, like, why?
They weren't. I mean, they might have been drawing, but it's not like those guys were getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong there. Yeah, I think there's definitely some truth to this. So, like, the big thing is that Paul's went on record of saying is like, they did it like when WWF signed Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah.
Made him into Flash Funk. They were going to lose some money on
Tommy Boy Records.
Tommy Boy Records. So supposedly Vince had like cut him a check to compensate him for that. But I think there was a lot more to it than that. That was
certain contracts like with Al Snow. Because Al Snow would go back. Because he did the initial run in the WWF. Vince saw something in him. He just needed some practice.
So was he still under contract when he went back to ECW?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Read his book. It's great.
Yeah. Okay. Al Snow was like, I was on contract with both companies. I was getting paid.
Yeah.
So there's definitely.
Yeah, he was not getting paid by ECW. He was getting paid by WWE.
Yeah. But he was just like,
sense.
They would make a check for both companies, but it was WWF money.
Yeah, I definitely think WWF did have a working relationship with ECW. And also, too, if you think about it, if you look back on ECW, I mean, yeah, they kind of made some comments against WWF, but not a ton, like
Yeah.
just enough to kind of stay a little edgy, It was more, the hate was more towards WCW. I wouldn't be shocked if there was some involvement with WCW. I think if anything, DadHat, it's probably stems from like the lawsuit, and there had to be some like, as part of the Heyman's lawsuit against WCW and stuff. And I think,
negotiation where they did the
right.
It was the first one was Mick Sabu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they just continued doing it because they brought in like Arn and Bobby Ian
and
like Rude. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's something to that, but it's interesting nonetheless. But next, gentlemen, I kind of want to switch gears from talking about companies to talking about change of plans, because there's always been change of plans. Things haven't went the way they were supposed to go in per the world of professional wrestling. A lot of times, you're going to think somebody is going to be, go over in this match or get a big push or whatever. And I want to start by talking about one of the big conspiracy theories, and this is going to be very familiar for you, Michael, because you guys just kind of touched upon this here a little bit. But I want to talk about that theory that is out there that one Lex Luger, in fact, cost himself his what was going to be a WWF title run back in 1994. Because as the rumor has it, is Lex Luger was bragging to the boys and everybody under the sun that he was going over at WrestleMania 10 and was going to finally become the WWF champion. Of course, now that didn't happen, as Bret the Hitman Hart did walk out of Madison Square Garden as the world champion. Do you think there's any truth in this, that Luger talked him out of this, or do you think just the higher ups in the WWF just realized, like, okay, this isn't our guy?
I think it could be either or, because if you watch there's behind the scenes footage on YouTube.
Superstars taping?
Yeah, that and Luger just doing the bus thing and him being a complete douche and
it's insane. Like, there's this amazing footage out there of the Lex Express. Yeah. And it was on the WWE Network originally. I think, like,
it's
you're
on
saying,
his A&E biography.
Yeah.
Oh, did they did show? Okay, yeah.
They showed some of it, but there's like an hour and a half long footage on YouTube.
Dude, it goes deeper than that. If you originally had it on WWE Network, it was like 3 hours uncut of just Luger being a fucking dick. Like, he just wanted nothing to do with anything with the bus. All he wanted to do was do his protein shakes and his workout. And that was it. Like, he didn't give a shit about being on the bus, touring, and all that stuff.
So him opening his mouth would not shock me.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of things. I think you're right. DadHat, what do you think?
I mean, I could see him. I mean, I've read Lex's book. And it's kind of the same thing along the lines of like Shawn Michaels. Like, he in his younger days, he was doing some things. He was a dick. He, and then he found God and turned his life around, just like Shawn did. But like, I could see him back in the day. He's young. He's in the tremendous shape that he's in. Like, shoot, if I had 18-pack abs, then yeah, I'd be bragging too. Like, and talking shit. But I mean, on the other side of the coin, though, I mean, you can be a larger than life like character physically, but if you can't talk on a damn mic, then you ain't gonna last. And to me, that's the big thing for Lex.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, like the classic line, Brett screwed Brett, right? Well, I think here Lex screwed Lex.
Mm-hmm.
But from the time that they started promoting him as like the top meat babyface in the company,
as soon as Hogan left.
As soon as Hogan left, and then just Luger with the attitude and stuff. I think on top of that, where I think the Superstars taping is a big part of it as well, because I think that was kind of a test to see the crowd's reaction, and just the crowd really didn't react the way the WWF thought they would.
Wait a minute, what happened to the Superstars?
Okay, so on that episode of Superstars they taped where Lex Luger came out for an interview and he had the WWF championship. So they were just presenting it like he had won the championship essentially.
Yeah, and the crowd went silent.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, huh? What?
Yeah.
When did this happen? Yeah.
Yeah, they did not give a fuck.
Yeah, it was just like I think that was the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, too. So
yeah. And there's a reason Bischoff didn't want to rehire him to WCW.
I mean, at the time, too, I mean, if I had the choice, I mean, I get Vince was very pro-American, very patriotic and everything. If I had the choice of putting the belt on someone other than Brett at that time, it's Davey Boy.
Oh, Bulldog? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Bulldog.
Yeah.
Like you could have had the same feud that you had. I mean, look at what they did with Hunter and Rock and Austin for the IC belt. It all translated into the same thing in the main event picture. They could have done the same thing back then with Davey Boy and Brett from the IC title to the world.
I know. That would have been fire. Like,
been pretty interesting.
Bulldog had his issues at that time, but that still would have been really dope to see.
I mean, and he had a main event kind of run in WCW when he was there in '93. If you think about it,
yeah.
So I could totally have seen him as like a main event guy, getting pushed with the belt. I will say this. I think at the end of the day, though, man, if they had went the Luger route, WrestleMania 10 just would not be as memorable as it is now.
Yeah,
because you get that classic ending with Brett finally, like coming back a year later, finally just getting the justification of all the shit he went through, and you get the classic Owen moment. I mean, that just leads to their amazing story they would have in '94. So it's just like I can't see that going any other way. So, gentlemen, that being said, I want to go back now to 1991, and we're going to talk about the conspiracy theory of WrestleMania 7. So if you don't know, WrestleMania 7 was originally set to take place in the LA Coliseum. And at the time, the WWF was running a red-hot storyline with Sergeant Slaughter being the turncoat against America. Well, as the story goes, apparently the WWF received bomb threats against them, because you got to keep in mind at the time you got the whole Iraq war is going. It's heavy. Everything's going on there. So supposedly WWF decided to move the venue from the Coliseum due to security reasons and to a much smaller venue. Do you think there's some truth to that, or you think it's complete utter bullshit? Because me personally, I think it's complete utter bullshit. Because they just weren't moving enough tickets, so they had to fucking move it.
Oh, no, I think it's true as shit. Like, back, I mean, at that time, I mean, you know, you look at America, I mean, I'm a big history buff. You look at American history and everything. Like, look post 9/11. It was probably the most united this country has ever been. Well, the Gulf War was, you know, probably one of the, is up there with it. Like, the country was very united against that. So I mean, I could totally see it, and it was in that time where, you know, bomb threats were happening a lot,
quite often, especially in the big cities. And I only know that because my dad was in the Army at the time, and he used to tell me things. And he was actually overseas during the Gulf.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this: I'm not going to deny that this storyline was like. It was.
It could be a combination of both.
It could be. It could be. And I think Slaughter was drawing massive heat. There's no doubt about that.
We're talking about a storyline that got that dude death threats to his own house. They had to move his family out the house.
Right.
In an apartment. So death threats to a stadium would not shock me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, and like I say, I think Slaughter was getting massive heat, but I think at the end of the day, it all boils down to is they just weren't selling enough tickets, so they saw an opportunity of a way out. And here's the reason why I say this: because the guy who owned the company was a heartless, soulless piece of shit. I mean, for God's sakes, Vince McMahon ran a fucking pay-per-view after somebody died in the fucking ring and blood was splattered on the canvas. You think he's going to give a shit if, like, some bombs go off at a fucking show? Hell no. He's still going to fucking run the shit. But that's my opinion. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, WWF used it as a way to get out of not selling out the Coliseum like they had originally intended.
They get threats to the building. This is Vince's reaction.
Yes, boys.
God, that.
Bro, God damn.
God. Was not expecting that. I saw you searching for something, and I wasn't expecting that to be the video.
I wasn't either. You marked me out, bro.
Gotcha. Oh, he also probably did this too.
Go for it. Pelvic thrusts.
I have more questions than answers on that.
I don't know. Ask Jay. This is all Jay.
Okay, I was about to say, why do you have videos of Adam Cole humping the ground? There, because that's weird.
The more important question is, why doesn't he have? Like, why wouldn't you have videos of Adam Cole humping the ground? But anyways, gentlemen, this next one I want to talk about is, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting one. I could see there being some reality in this, but I want to talk about the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. And as we all know, he won the WWE Championship early on in his career when you think about it. I think he'd only been in the WWE maybe a year, if that.
Mm-hmm.
So the conspiracy theory here is that Sheamus actually won the WWE title by accident. And the reason we say this is because the match that took place was at a TLC pay-per-view against John Cena, and it was actually a tables match. So the theory is that Cena accidentally fell and went through a table when he wasn't supposed to, and thus they just had to go with the flow, and Sheamus became the new WWE champion. Gentlemen, do you think that's really what happened? Because at the time, if you think about Sheamus, it was just like, it was confusing. It's like, okay, why is he getting a title shot all of a sudden? Because it's like, because he worked in ECW for a while, and then they just put him over on the main roster, and now all of a sudden he's like challenging for the WWE title, and now all of a sudden he's the WWE champion? It's like, what's going on here? I mean, and WWE has a track record where they have done this with other wrestlers who they just all of a sudden out of the blue plucked out of obscurity and decide to push to the moon. I'm talking about you, Jinder Mahal, and a couple other guys. But no,
in that era, they did that a lot.
They did do it a lot in that era too. That's a good point as well. But DadHat, so you don't think that was by accident?
No, because I feel like if that was, again, we're bringing up Vince a lot, I feel like, this episode, but I feel like if that had been an accident,
Vince would have came out there and popped both his kneecaps again.
No, I just don't think Sheamus would have gotten,
he would have dropped it the next night or something.
Or he would have dropped it. He would have dropped it, and then he would have probably been buried the rest of his career for fucking up.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And I'm such a Sheamus fan, and I don't want to believe that. Like, I want to believe that man, they thought he was the dude at that time.
Mike, I'm with you, buddy. I'm a Sheamus guy as well, and I think what WWE was looking for at the time is they were like, ooh, we've got this big striking man, or this is what Vince is thinking. This big muscle bound Irish man. It's like, you got somebody of foreign descent that you can put over.
Doing this?
What
the fuck? Yeah, he was doing that with
what
baby.
What is going on with Jay? Because why does he have these?
Because it's Jay. But yeah, no, I think he saw somebody who was, a great physique, great character, and the fact that I've got somewhere overseas I can be appealing to. So I think it was like, yeah, let's go with Sheamus. So.
Vince has always been really, really big into the foreign heel thing. And they tried so much in that era they tried it with Drew, didn't really work out. they traded with Muhammad a couple years earlier. I think they thought Sheamus was going to be like the next like Iron Sheik or
I
like
think
Yokozuna.
for me, like with the foreign heels and everything, like I think it just doesn't work with like anyone from like the UK area, Ireland.
Yeah.
There's
Because they're
a
white.
there's a lot of that. No, not because of that, but there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that community that has moved to the States.
Yeah, that's
No.
what I'm saying. It's like
I mean, a
people can't
lot
really
of
see him as like
their
a foreign
heritage
heel.
is a lot of heritage is
Yeah.
from that area. So I mean, not everyone, but I mean, it's so I mean,
Yeah.
it's like if you're doing to me, it's like if you're going to do a foreign heel, it's got to be against someone that is from a country that the U.S. was opposed to. That's like we just talked about with the Iron Sheik.
Or like how like he's a piece of shit now, but like Alberto at his height was a great heel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like Muhammad Hassan before the situation happened in France.
That's no. Well, yeah. Well, that Alberto is somebody that should have never been even close to that damn title.
But
Facts.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
But he was still a good top heel.
Yeah, and he's a piece of shit. But okay. As far as change of plans, well, there's one more I want to mention here, and this is a big one. Maybe the biggest change of plans of all. We got to talk about it. It still breaks some wrestling fans' hearts to this day.
I have one too. If it's not the one if you don't
Oh.
go through, if
Okay.
this is not the one that you're about to go into.
Okay. I'm talking about WrestleMania 30 and the end of the streak. The Undertaker losing finally. But rumor has it, the conspiracy theorists have it, that Brock Lesnar went into business for himself and purposely took that match over. Taker was concussed and thus made himself become the one to defeat the Undertaker. Do you guys believe any of that? Because I
Not
don't.
one bit.
No.
Because the
'Cause
fact of the
Brock
matter is there was a
wasn't
fucking
fired.
graphic made after the match.
Yeah. With the graphic, if someone as big as Undertaker, Brock would have been fired or buried. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about the GOAT of the locker room. Like, the most loyal person to Vince.
Yeah. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any
Yeah.
legitimacy to this whatsoever. That was the plan. Now it may not. Obviously, Undertaker being concussed and had the fuck beat out of him in the match. I don't think that obviously was the way they were intended to go. But I do think Lesnar was going over in that one. So
Yeah.
think of it this way. You look at 30. If you were ever going to do that 1 year, that's the 1 year you could get by with it because you get one of the greatest feel good moments of all time with Bryan Danielson walking out.
Yeah.
As the double champion. So DadHat, so there was one you had though?
Well, yeah, I mean,
at the end of this, I was wanting to kind of talk about some of ours. You okay with saving it to the end?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's not. I don't know if I really say it's a conspiracy theory. It's just what happened made other events happen. So if the first thing didn't happen, then it would have altered history.
We'll touch on that for sure. But gentlemen, next couple theories I want to talk about. These are kind of the more along the bizarre line of theories because there's been some pretty crazy ass theories in the world of pro wrestling. And when I think of bizarre ones, this is one of the first ones I always think of because I remember this as a kid and just wondering oh man, is that true? I want to talk to you guys about the theory, the fact that there was 2 Ultimate Warriors.
Oh.
Because forever, even as a kid, it was just discussed because Warrior left in 91, came back in 92, and it just seemed like it was kind of a different Warrior. It wasn't the same Ultimate Warrior.
I see your Warrior and I raise you a cane. That Glenn Jacobs was not Kane the entire time. I'm adamant about that.
Okay.
We've discussed this before offline, and it's funny.
Adamant about it.
Oh, so you think Isaac Yankem was partly Kane half the time?
No. I don't know. I don't know why I think this. It's I don't know. It's always I'm like it's not that is not the same man behind it. Like he had real long hair. He wasn't wearing a wig the entire time. Like to me, Glenn Jacobs was not Kane the entire time.
That's interesting. But as far as the Warriors concerned, I call bullshit on this one. It's always been Jim Hellwig the whole time. There was never two Ultimate Warriors.
Yeah.
My favorite is when people try to say they switched him with Kevin Von Erich.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect segue because that's the next conspiracy theory I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Von Erich curse. Because as we all know, that family suffered unlike any other family in the world.
Still haven't seen that movie. Still haven't.
Oh, dude,
DadHat, what are you doing?
I don't have Max.
Get Max and watch that.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you my username and password after this.
Because, God, it's a movie that makes me cry every time I watch it.
Yeah.
I might also have been South Park if you don't mind.
Go for it, brother. So here is the theory on this. This one's kind of fascinating to me, is how the whole Von Erich curse got started. Is supposedly this actually has to do with the Holocaust, believe it or not. Is that there was a ghost in the Von Erich's home that put a curse on them due to like Fritz Von Erich's gimmick as the German, the Nazi guy, and thus he ended up like cursed the family. I don't know. This one's kind of left field, guys. Do you think there's any like truth to this?
I mean, I believe in ghosts, but I mean, it's just because I mean, North Carolina, especially with me spending a lot of my life in the mountains of North Carolina, it's one of the most haunted places in the United States.
I have to agree with DadHat on that, with my family being from New Orleans and that being one of the most haunted places.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah. And again, especially doing a Nazi gimmick at the time he did, like fresh off the war, is crazy doing. So if there was a ghost out there that wanted to curse his family, you know what?
It would. Hey, man, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, because I think ultimately what it is just people looking for like to grasp straws and look at for some reason of like, because what happened to the Von Erichs is like I don't think not just in wrestling but in pop culture in general. I don't recall ever seeing a family that suffered that much in the public light.
The Kennedys.
Well, yeah, that's true. The Kennedys would definitely be up there. But in such a short time frame, though, too, because you look at that, the Von Erich like tragedies happened within pretty much 10 years of each other.
Yeah,
of so many of them passing away and commit suicide and whatnot. So,
all right, now I got that last thing stuck in my head. Thanks, OJ. I'm gonna go.
You're welcome, my friend.
God damn it.
Okay, so guys, this next one. So when I think of wrestling conspiracy theories,
Hulk Hogan getting punched in the face.
Oh, no, but that's one of my personal theories I was going to talk about. But no, this one, I think it's kind of gets talked about and then like thrown around and passed around. And it's just, to me, one of the most bizarre conspiracy theories I've ever heard. And it's the fact that, as we all know, the Macho Man Randy Savage did leave the WWF in 1994. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go that route.
We're going that route because the rumor has it that the reason Randy Savage never really worked with the WWF ever again is, in fact, because he hooked up with a young Stephanie McMahon when she was a teenager. Like, I don't even know.
Talk about this?
Did what?
See, I always heard it was when she was like 18, 19. Like, she was legal. Like,
oh.
Well, does the time, here's the thing. Does the time match up there, though? Because, I mean, if this was happened in 94, Stephanie, I don't think she was 18, was she?
No.
Because when was Stephanie born?
Hold on. She was born in 76.
Okay. So she would have been right at 18.
Yeah.
I
heard he was doing it for years beforehand, and Vince finally found out about it.
Really?
Yeah.
So I just saw a recent interview. I don't know how old this interview is. I didn't look, but it just popped up, and it was an interview with Gorgeous George, female Gorgeous George.
Yeah. His former manager.
Yeah, and she brings up that, and that they were doing some drinking and some substances, and he told her everything. And the next morning, he was like, "Did I mention anything out on the beach?" That was a horrible Randy Savage impression. I don't have the energy to do it justice today. And she's like, "Yeah, you did." And he's just like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. That was that time they were doing like a lot of acid too. Yeah.
See, I can't see it. I can't. Maybe I'm a big fan of Macho Man's wife. I don't know. I just can't see Randy Savage doing that. Like
the 80s and 90s were a weird time. It wouldn't put me past the son of a bitch. And I love Randy. Call me a cynical human being that doesn't trust motherfuckers in the WWE roster.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Well, gentlemen, from bizarre to even more bizarre, I want to talk about these next couple ones here, because in doing my research, there's some of these that like I didn't even know they existed, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? This one is, the more you think about it, it's just kind of like, that would be fucked up if that's the case. But I once again, I don't really think this is. But let's talk about your current WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So there is a bizarre conspiracy theory out there that Cody Rhodes is in fact not the son of one Dusty Rhodes, but in fact his real father is Dustin Rhodes. Yes, this is a conspiracy. Yes, the theory is that Dustin Rhodes had a child when he was a teenager, and in actuality, it was Cody Rhodes.
I don't believe that. People are. That is wild.
I can't fuck. I no.
Who
would don't see it.
Was it with Terry? Because that would be kind of wild.
No, I think this would have been long before Terry, because Dustin would have been like young, like 15 or something. Yeah,
high school.
Yeah, so
no, I don't believe that. That's crazy. That's weird.
I mean, the Rhodes, they all look alike, but I mean, I see too much of Dusty and Cody.
Yeah,
I can't see it. Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. So this is false.
Yeah,
it's pretty bizarre. This next one's another weird one too. Like, I didn't even know this was a thing. But did you guys know that there was a period in the 90s where a lot of people in the WWF thought the Clique was actually a part of the Illuminati?
I've read that before.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And I love that for multiple reasons. I don't believe it, but for multiple reasons, that is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, but I just, like, when I read it, I was just like, what the fuck, really? But crazier things have happened, I suppose, right? But this last one, this one's just like one of the most bizarre ones I've ever come across. And I think it's just some fan fiction or just fucking, I don't know. I almost didn't even want to bring it up, but I mean, it's just too fucking crazy not to bring up. So there's a conspiracy theory out there of what actually led to the demise and the passing of the legendary Hall of Famer, Ravishing Rick Rude. You guys ever heard anything about this?
No.
Okay.
That's not the name I was expecting you to say.
Yeah.
No. And
so
now I'm confused. My head hurts.
Oh, you're about to be fucking confused. So here's Here is the theory.
I'm scared.
And once again, this is the internet, folks. The internet, you know how fucking crazy and stupid it gets. And this may take the case. So here's the theory, is that Rick Rude actually God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. The theory was that Rick Rude injected his penis with fucking Viagra, like or steroids or something, so he could get an erection, and his erection would not go away, and they had to sever his penis, and thus Rick Rude ended up ODing on some drugs and killed himself because he had to lose his ravishing one.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Thank you.
What side of the internet are you on?
The dark web. Like, it's just like, what the fuck is this shit? It was too fucking crazy not to mention.
Yeah.
Like some, and this just goes to show you, there's some levity in some of these conspiracy theories we've talked about here on this episode, and some of them are just like, what the fuck?
Uh-huh.
And that's definitely takes the case as far as what the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just I'm not buying it. I think it's the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard. So in closing, gentlemen, I wanted to touch base with you guys and talk about some of your conspiracy theories that you believe in. And DadHat, you kind of already touched base on. So can you explain the whole Kane thing to us?
I don't know. It just, to me, it's just like when I look at Kane, like debut, and I don't know why the segment for Kane that always sticks out to me, like original Kane, is the night after King of the Ring where he won the WWF title, and Austin's like, "We give him the rematch," and he's shaking his head like, "Yes." For some reason, that always stands out to me. That does not body type, facial structure behind the mask does not look like what ends up being Kane later on. So I don't know. That's just something personally. That's all. I've always said that. My other two that I was going to bring up is the one, like when you first said wrestling conspiracy theories, the first thing I was like, oh, well, I know one we're going to talk on, and we didn't, is the death of Bruiser Brody.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like did Cologne, was that involved? Like that side of things. But what I was talking about earlier, this happened, which changed the events, and then something else had to happen. And what would have the course of history in wrestling? Curtain call. Triple H supposed to win King of the Ring. Doesn't happen. So Austin wins it. You get Austin 316 moment. Triple H put on the back burner. Austin skyrockets. That they defeat WCW. Like, curtain call doesn't happen, or Triple H doesn't go out for the curtain call, or isn't a part of it. What does the world look like? What does the wrestling world look like?
I can't even fathom.
It's one of those you could spend a whole episode doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird to think what we would do without Austin 316 promo.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like, because if that promo doesn't happen, if Triple H is in the curtain call doesn't, it's just.
No, I really want to see that match with Jake the Snake Roberts and Triple H would have been kind of fire, though.
Well, yeah, not Jake at that point, though.
Yeah, but it's just it's fascinating to me because I think that's the biggest what if, right? Because I mean, if it had went that way, like, what would we have seen? Like, would Steve Austin ever have shot to the top like he did? I mean, in my heart of hearts, I believe he would have to a certain extent. But man, that King of the Ring tournament, that promo at the end, that's what everybody remembers. You could easily say that is one of the most pivotal moments in any professional wrestler's career. And you can say it's one of the most pivotal moments in the world of pro wrestling, bar none.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a fascinating what if. Michael, what about you, buddy? What are some of your conspiracy theories that we may not have touched?
The one that I kind of jumped the gun when I was going to talk about it earlier, was WrestleMania 9.
Wait a
I'm-
minute. Wait a minute. You can't jump.
I thought it was going to
And
act so
there it is.
devastating.
You no good, rotten bastard.
The fuck? Son of a-
That's a good
What
promo.
is this? Circus peanuts! Ah!
Fucking love that video.
Yeah.
I love that video so much.
Yeah, sorry, it was too easy, and I was delayed too. Like when you said it, I was like, "Oh wait, hold on, I have a joke here."
Of
But
course.
I know that what you're talking about because it was on mine too. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Mike.
So WrestleMania 9, Hulk Hogan comes out for the main event, and he's got a black eye out of nowhere.
Well, he had it in the
Yeah,
tag
the
match
tag
too.
match.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. The tag match, that first match, he has a black eye out of nowhere. And their conspiracy theory is Savage gave him that black eye the day before or 2 days before when he found out that not only was Elizabeth trying to live with Hogan and Linda, but they were shacking up because I guess Linda and Hogan at the time were doing extracurriculars with other couples. And I guess they had let
What you're trying to say is their favorite piece of jungle gym equipment is a swing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess Elizabeth had joined and Savage found out about it. And his point era paranoia got the best of him and he punched Hogan in the face.
Oh, I believe that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was mine too. Is like
I don't know about
'cause
maybe
I know they
all-
said like
all the extracurriculars, like that's their own damn business. But
Savage punched him.
Savage
100%. That's what happened. I mean,
Yeah.
they tried to say it was a jet ski accident. Storyline wise, they said the $1 Million Man hired somebody to. No, Randy Savage done fucked that man up.
he drilled.
That's
Yeah.
what happened. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I have another one too, and it is the whole Shawn Michaels losing his
Okay.
smile. Of course, I don't think that motherfucker ever lost his smile. I don't think. Yeah, I think the fact of the matter is he was just like too pilled up and coked up and shit that like they just had to make up like that he was injured or whatever. I think Shawn Michaels was fully capable of wrestling at WrestleMania 13. I think they would have done the original plan I think was Brett and Shawn Michaels the rematch. And I think it was fully capable of happening, but the fact is, like, Shawn was fucking Shawn and so out of control that, that's what happened. So.
My other conspiracy theory that I honestly do believe is Ultimate Warrior knowing that he was going to die, and that's why he made amends to get into the Hall of Fame and then do that speech on Raw.
I mean, they say as you're getting closer to your end that you, like, it's a maybe not a conscious like I know I'm going to die tomorrow, but it's the end is near.
Yeah.
So like, especially I rewatched that promo like a few weeks ago. It is fucking chilling.
Yeah.
I was just happened to watch that Raw, and I forgot that promo was there. That's what it was. I was like, oh, yeah, this promo is a little eerie.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. That was just some of the many conspiracy theories in the world of pro wrestling. If there's some we left out, please leave us a comment and let us know what some of your conspiracy theories are and what you think of some of the ones we talked about here tonight.
Perfect. Well, folks, before we get down to business, let's have a little plug-a-palooza. Hell yeah. First off, Michael, thanks for jumping on. As always, you're always welcome here. Your family. Let them know what you got going on, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
MJ Duplessis 1992 on all my social medias. You can catch me here on World Championship Wreckage Queen's Court with the Tribal Cream Brew Stout and my brother Husky Harris. As we go through the history of Monday Night Raw, we are getting into December of '94 here soon. You can also catch me on Cold TV every other Thursday with XOJ, the OG, and B-Roll. I don't know when this is coming out.
Probably tomorrow, if I can
Probably
tell.
tomorrow. So, yeah, then tomorrow night we will be doing Starcade. So if you watch that, come join us talking about the history of Starcade. And maybe sooner or later an episode of the Fantasy Warfare.
God willing.
Yeah, we got some plans and some collabs. The XLJ and has thrown around, and I'm all for it. So,
Yes.
XLJ, what about you?
Oh man, I tell you, DadHat, like it is our busy season over on Cold TV. It is the busy time of the year where we put out some pretty awesome content, and like this year, we are just going balls to the wall. Maybe the most daunting task we've ever done, but we love what we're doing over there because, folks, we're going out with a bang towards the end of the year because we have not one, not two, not three, but 4 themed weeks to close out the year, and it all kicks off next week with our Thanksgiving week. As it was kind of alluded to before, I was out on the West Coast, shot a ton of content. You're going to be on the lookout for that in the coming month. If you tune in to Learning the Ropes tomorrow, you get a sneak peek of what exactly I'm talking about. So there's a little thing there for you. And I'll just leave you with this. The last thing you will see this year on Cold TV, we are going out with a massive bang as, well, simply put, we're making a movie. Like, and it's fucking bizarre. It's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. So yeah, you're going to want to tune in for that because it's pretty wild. So
I'm excited about that.
That's awesome.
Well, you can find me, DadHat Wrestling, all socials, all the same, at DadHat Wrestling. World Championship Wreckage on every social media. While they still exist, but let's get down to business. It's my topic next time. It's been a while since I've got to choose something, and I'm excited about it because it's something that some of this stuff has been brought up in passing or been mentioned in an episode, but we've never focused on anything for this. And I'm excited, and I'm a little obsessed right now with it. But we're gonna have a whole TNA episode next time. We're gonna be talking TNA, the Asylum years.
Oh,
Can I join in on this?
Yes.
I think Mike has to be here.
Yeah. Yes, you can. Like, it's gonna be just the Asylum years. I recently got TNA Plus.
You got hooked. It's been great.
And I didn't see a lot of this. I mean, I was graduating high school. I was in college. Like, I didn't have the money to buy pay-per-views, weekly pay-per-views, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, hold on. I'm gonna do the math real quick. Those pay-per-views were what? $9.99.
They were $9.99, and they ran every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
They did
at
111.
4
They
o'clock.
did 111 episodes. So if you bought all of them every week for those first 3 years, you spent $1,108.89. Yeah, I didn't have that money as a college student or as a high school student. So we're gonna talk the Asylum years and the good, the bad, the ugly. There's plenty of all of it. But I'm excited about talking about the Asylum years. I mean earlier tonight, just got out of the Asylum years, so I'm now fully on Impact, heading towards the very first Victory Road. So,
Oh wow, nice.
so
That's a good era too.
That is
Yeah.
a great era.
The FSN Fox Sports era is really good also.
Mhm.
that's where I'm at.
But goddamn, do I love me some Asylum years.
Yeah.
There's
There's so much
just
good. There's so much bad. There's a lot of ugly.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a fun episode. Well, folks, as always, we're going to end our show the way that we always do. First of all, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We love the engagement. Go follow Cole TV. Go follow Rivet City Radio. Watch Box and Share Shot over there for our buddy, the Will Gray. Also, make sure, I don't want to butcher it, go follow all of his socials for his new pop-up barbecue, Hot Like Sauce Barbecue on all social medias. And
hit Will with the hashtag, I want your meat in my mouth.
That can become a thing.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yep. That will be clipped, and I will put that in here. But yes, hashtag, I want your meat in my mouth. We've slowly killed Mike. Anyway, we're going to end the show, as we always do, with wise words from Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, baby, I got one more thing to say. Your gas tank is full. Your dipstick is in. Your windows washed. Y'all come back and see me again.